Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back. I'm so pumped today. Well, I stopped at Sephora, spent like a good $200 on 4 things. You know how it is, unfortunately. Nothing is cheap in there. But I'm excited to show y'all what I got. I even got like a little holiday gift set. A bunch of new things. I've never tried any of this, and the only reason I really had to like try new things, unfortunately, is because the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Hydrate foundation that I've been using for literally years now, I think they discontinued it because Ulta didn't have it. I went to Target because I knew Target carried it, and they had it on sale for like $3, and there were like 2 bottles left, and it was like the darkest shade. So I picked up a couple different things to try, a new foundation, a new concealer. I'm excited. It's always hit or miss with new makeup. It's either horrible, the shade might not even match, the lighting in Sephora and Ulta's are always questionable. I feel like you walk out of the store and you're like, holy shit, what did I just buy? Hopefully it's everything I need and I don't have to keep looking, because finding a foundation that's like gonna be your new staple that you're gonna keep repurchasing is honestly so tough. So fingers crossed. I asked you guys over on Instagram to ask me questions or like topics y'all want to talk about in this video. I love talking to y'all. These are some of my favorites to film anytime we get to sit down and like answer questions, talk about topics y'all are interested in. If this stuff sucks, I need to like actually hold myself to returning it because it's so expensive. No, I can't just take that out. The first thing I grabbed, this is the only thing that I like kind of knew I wanted going in. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Complexion Perfecting Micro Powder. It's a flawless finish micro powder. I've heard that this is good for like mature skin, so I'd imagine it would be probably one of the better options for dry skin as well. I also got the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I know this is like a cult favorite. I'm sure it's still like a top seller at Sephora. I don't think I've ever tried it. I think with most high-end brands, I find that the tones are too yellow for my skin. This is like all NARS and it wasn't even purposeful. It happened that way. I grabbed the Light Reflecting Foundation. I just feel like I've heard good things about it. I wanted to try the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, which I've tried in the past. The color didn't work, but I was like, I was younger. Maybe I was just kind of dumb. Last thing I picked up also from NARS. This is a Behave Backstage Cheek Set. They didn't have the shade Behave, like the little liquid blush in the shade Behave, without the cheek set. So I just bought the set because I really wanted that color. Starting off with my eyebrows, I'm going to use this NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. I typically would use the Anastasia Brow Wiz, but I can't find mine right this second. Either way, the first question I'm seeing on here, somebody said that they've been struggling with procrastination due to their mental health. Any advice? The best thing I think I can say when it comes, and I've heard somebody else say this isn't like my original thought or like concept. When you are procrastinating things and worried about things that you're pushing off doing, you're not even letting yourself relax while you're procrastinating because you're still worrying about doing them. So at no point are you giving yourself like the needed break that maybe would help your mental health. I've always been like a huge procrastinator. Like my entire life, I'll wait till the last second, push everything off and then do it unless it's something I'm very passionate about and really want to be doing, which is why I think it burdens our mental health, because you don't want to be doing it, so it's like a negative thing. It's so hard to find a balance of work and play once you're an adult, and I feel like everybody needs it. Like you can't be all work or all school or all this. You have to find things that you love and enjoy that make you have that spark again. So it's like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, it's not that bad to do this so I can get to the shit I want to get done. What is it, like the law of physics? Like a ball in motion stays in motion. When you have that energy just going about you and you're excited and you're up and you're active and positive and you're vibrating all of that positive energy, it just keeps rolling and flowing. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't usually use this brow pen, so I feel like I'm just talking and not really doing my brows. I always wait till the end to like set my brows with brow freeze after my foundation and the rest of my face is done. But for now, this is where I'm gonna stop, I guess. Let's go on to like spot concealing. I'm gonna see how far off. This might be too light to spot conceal. I might have to use a concealer I already own, but somebody said, how long have you and your boyfriend been together for? I honestly don't know exactly, but yesterday I got on my Snapchat and saw a memory from 6 or 7 years ago, and it was me and him together, and I was like, damn, we were little babies. But at that point, we'd probably been together for like a year or so at least, so I don't know, we've known each other for a really long time. Any secret talents, which I think is kind of funny. I don't think I have necessarily any secret talents. I've always been like very athletic and extremely flexible due to me having a literal chronic illness, but people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome tend to be able to do a lot of party tricks in the sense of like, I can put my legs over my head, like a contortionist, if you will. People with EDS tend to get hurt a little bit more because they don't have the collagen to hold their joints together. Yeah, I'm super bendy and flexible, which isn't a great thing, but it is a cool party trick to be able to like always just be so flexible and not even feel a stretch from it. Does mid even do anything for you, or is it strictly top shelf / exotic at this point? Everything I buy is technically considered top shelf, but I also am not buying like the most expensive top shelf either. I would rather smoke less material and it get me further. It's kind of like the idea of like taking a shot versus having a whole drink. This concealer looks like it's gonna like be a really good color. I'm so bad about, if I have a little bump on my skin, I will pick it the second that I see it. I'll wash my hands first, but like I immediately have to deal with it. Not the best spot concealing job on the planet, but I'm not too concerned about it. Now I'm gonna go in with the foundation. Thoughts on donuts / hash holes. I think they're great. I think they absolutely kill me. Like if they're rolled right and there's like a lot, like a decent sized snake of hash in there, it really like chokes you up, but you can really taste like a whole other element of the joint. Fingers crossed this looks good, because if this is the wrong color, this will break the whole look. Somebody said, have you ever gotten pulled over with a smelly car? I've only been pulled over one time, knock on fucking wood. I was probably maybe 17 or 18, I don't even know. This was at the time that Kyle and I were like not dating. There was like the year gap that we weren't together. Kyle was actually here and another friend as well. It just like wasn't Kyle and I, because we were broken up at the time, and that would have been like a little odd, but we still were like on better terms than like your average ex. We didn't hate each other, but it's still kind of awkward to be in a room together. I think this was like the first time we were in a room together since our breakup actually, but we were friendly, you know. I think we were gonna go and grab like some Jewel pods or maybe like some vape juice, whatever, something stupid. This was before the tobacco law changed to 21, so at 18 we all in high school could like smoke, and it was just, I don't know. Luckily I went through that hellish process of unaddicting to vaping, because that was not cute. My lungs definitely don't need weed smoke like I smoke, plus like a whole ass vape I was chiefing on every like 5 seconds in between that. So out with that. But that's what we were going. We were going to like a little smoke shop to pick up who knows fucking what. Something definitely along those lines, and we all were just like gonna drive together. My one friend came home directly after school, like from high school with me, if that makes sense, and we were waiting on Kyle because we were all just gonna drive together down to the little, you know, vape shop and get what we needed. And while we were doing that, I just decided we would have a bowl or a couple bong rips, whatever, in my car. So we were just chilling, session, blah blah blah. Pretty typical for me at the time. I smoked a lot in my car because I didn't want my parents to like smell it in the house. That was the situation. I had literally just hotboxed my car. We went to the vape store. Everything was all good. On the way home from the vape store, we decided we were all gonna stop at Wendy's and get a little something to eat. And on the way home, there was a cop sitting there, and I was like, ooh, a cop, like just obviously pointed it out. I looked down and make sure I'm going the speed limit. I'm going like a mile under 25, something like that, because I just came through a red light and the speed limit was 25. So I was like, we're good. We're not speeding or anything. Drive past. He's like pulled off the side of the road, sitting in like a little public parking lot. The cop pulled out behind me. I was like, oh my gosh, that seemed intentional. Like just whipped out right behind me. I'm like looking down at my dash, like, am I doing something wrong? Why is he pulling out behind me? I realized my lights aren't on. Now, it didn't dawn on me right away because it wasn't that dark out yet. As soon as I turn on my lights, because I'm like, that's probably why he pulled out behind me, he pulls me over. So I was like, shit, pull over. And he said like, you know, I pull you over. And I was like, no. And I just knew he was like leaning in my car, and it smelled like there was no way it didn't. She was really cool. He didn't even say anything about the smell. He was like, it's all right, just turn them on, bye. Lucky for me, it smelled, but I didn't have actual product with me or anything like that. That's when it's scary. Like when your car kind of smells, plus you have weed with you. This foundation really reminds me of like what I already used, the Makeup Revolution foundation, which is like great, but also super sad because this bottle costs so much more than that one. I'm gonna use this e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in Bronzed Belle. This stuff, like for being an e.l.f. product, sits so nicely on my skin. I've heard mixed reviews about it. Some people love it, some people hate it. I really like it. What's your go-to snack when you get the munchies? Recently, one of my favorites, this is such like a healthy snack too, and I don't know, typically I feel like I might have like an icy, which is an all-time favorite. That'll always be up there. But recently, I showed you guys in my last vlog, I think, I cut up a banana and then I put RXR bar peanut butter. It's the cinnamon peanut whatever one. It's super, super good. I put that in the middle and then I freeze it, and then I dip them like halfway in chocolate When I tell you those little banana bites are like a little slice of heaven, so freaking good. And then I freeze them again. They're like frozen little chocolate covered bananas, but I only dip it halfway in chocolate so it's not too overwhelming. But it has so quickly became something that anytime I'm like hungry and don't really know what I want, I'll just go grab like a quick little banana bite out of the freezer. They're made, they're prepped. Also, Trader Joe's, if you like kettle corn, they have a really good like maple kettle corn right now. Every now and again, I'll bust open a bag of that. You guys always ask, which I feel like I've probably answered before, but I can't think of like when specifically, but y'all always want to know what flavor or like what color combination I do with my icy. I get mostly Mountain Dew, like a good amount of yellow, but also like a good amount of blue, not 50-50. I don't even know how to explain it, but it makes like a beautiful greenish teal color when it's perfectly made. And to me, it might as well be crack. This shit is so good. I've literally thought about like when I'm rich one day, when I have this beautiful house, the only thing I want is an icy machine. That is like the one custom thing I'm gonna have to reach out to Speedway. I'm all bronzed up. I definitely could do like a whole nother layer of foundation, like a really light one if I wanted to, because I can still see like light imperfections shining through. I guess I'm gonna try the NARS concealer under my eyes, and then we'll get into the liquid blush. Blush is definitely like one of my favorite steps in my makeup. I always like to go like kind of light-handed on my concealer until I see how it applies. I also probably should have done one eye at a time, considering I don't know if this dries down really fast or not. But the next question I'm reading says, do you plan on making more merch? If you mean of the same designs, I don't specifically plan on making like identical merch to what I've already dropped and like redropping it. I've already designed like an entire another merch drop, and it's my favorite design yet. I'm so excited for you guys to see it, but it's not in the like production process yet. I haven't gotten all the clothes. I've gotten some samples. This is definitely like my favorite merch I've ever created, and I think that's how it should be. It should be getting better. I should be more excited for each and every drop. I'm even thinking that this year might be the year of me financing my own embroidery machine, and then if you guys are interested, I could bring you along like the behind the scenes of an at-home studio, running a small business, but like fully running it and designing it, and just things that there's not much of like a niche for. Like there definitely is. I think people would watch people setting up studios, small businesses, how they do their packaging, all kinds of stuff, and people definitely do it, but I feel like there's very few creators. It's kind of like WeedTube, where there's only 10 or 15 WeedTubers that are really out there that I know of. So if that's something y'all be interested in, I definitely can like sprinkle it in on the vlog channel, because I do already like pack up merch. That's something I do all the time. I love doing it. I wouldn't not want to run a shop. I think the attention to detail when I have like my own machines and things like that would just be so much better than I could ever pay anybody to do when I'm doing it myself, you know? So I don't know which one of these I should use. I've got this liquid blush and then this other like cream blush, which it's like the same thing. It's the same shade. It says the multiple. What does that even mean? I guess cheek lip highlight, like something like that. I guess I'm gonna try this little guy because it just looks kind of scary pigmented, and I love blush. So somebody said, have guys always been super into you because you smoke weed and think it's so weird that a girl does? I've definitely hung out with people that like you can just see, not my friends. I would definitely never befriend somebody that's like that, like they can't imagine how a female could smoke weed or smoke that much weed or anything like that. I've definitely like been in settings where it's like a friend of a friend is definitely like looking at me like, holy shit, oh, she's pigmented. I'm glad I like tapped that out. For whatever reason in my life, I feel like even super young, I attracted male energy to me like super heavily, and I've never loved that. When you're a kid, it might be like fun and cool, but as soon as you realize that like those are grown-ass men that are being like attracted to you as you're like a young little child, that's so fucking weird. I feel like I've had a lot of experiences with like what I would nearly consider like incel behavior. And I don't know how else I would describe this. I don't know. You can help me out if you know. I have friends that are super chill, not toxic, don't give that vibe. I wouldn't even know that they have feelings for me or feel some type of way about me. But then in high school, when I'd have a boyfriend or a significant other, they'd be like, oh, I don't like them. They wouldn't even know them. And they just didn't like whoever my significant other was because they liked me, but they would never really express that. So it wasn't like, that's not my problem. But I don't know, that's been like a big common like reoccurring behavior in my life, which is super like, I feel like high school energy. Do we like this color? Does the blush like, is it a decent color? I feel like it looks pretty on camera, but y'all are also really far away, so I can't really see. I'm definitely gonna set it with the matching little powder, but first I'm gonna try out the Flawless Finish setting powder. I wanted to get a powder puff, but my Sephora was sold out, so I didn't get my hands on one. I think Ulta, does Ulta carry Laura Mercier? No. Giving a light little set. I don't really have much of anything left on this sponge. To me, it definitely like mattified, but also it doesn't look too matte. Like it looks more of like a natural finish, so I don't hate it. If powder's too drying, it does not do anything good for my skin, that's for sure. The item at Sephora I couldn't live without right now or recently, it's been like the Anastasia Brow Freeze. I also really love this, which I don't even think is from Sephora. I think only Ulta carries it. I could be wrong, but it's from the brand Velour and it's lash adhesive. It's latex free and it is the only eyelash glue I've ever found that's like gonna hold on eyelashes at all costs. I really want to try out the Benefit Brow Setter. It's like a clear brow gel that I've heard a couple people raving about that have like on the thicker side of eyebrows, but yesterday they were also sold out of that at my Sephora. They didn't even have the mini size. I was like, damn, where do you want to live later in life? I honestly don't know. I've talked about Colorado, but a lot of strange violence happens in Colorado and I don't love that. Not that strange violence doesn't really happen everywhere. I really don't know. I think about it all the time. I'm always like looking on like Zillow and on the market in different places. I can never decide. Obviously somewhere that's legal, at least medically, but I prefer recreationally. Some are gorgeous. I would love to live in Cali, but I also feel like there's a lot of like petty crimes and theft and just stupid shit that's just always happening. I would love if it's warm, but if it's not, I think all the time, I don't like dreariness. I would rather it completely snow than just be like 20 degrees and be freezing. I feel like I always get a good amount of questions wondering like, is this my main income? Do I make money off of my YouTube videos? All kinds of things like that. Advice on how to make like social media your full-time job, all kinds of stuff. And I feel like low-key I could do an entire video on advice on starting a YouTube channel and getting paid from YouTube. I do think a lot of it requires luck. I think a lot of it requires like dedication to consistently showing up, just like a job, just showing up even when you're not getting paid, which is really hard to do because nobody's valuing your content yet but yourself. So I feel like everybody's so curious, especially with YouTubers, how they like make money and get paid, but it really is all because of the sponsors. Without sponsors, we wouldn't be able to make money, as YouTube is very limited on AdSense with YouTubers. They don't really ever let it slide. On my other channel, they age restrict my content like before it's even done processing. Once you upload a YouTube video, it processes in like HD or whatever, like the high quality version, and before it'll even be done processing, it will tell me that it's age restricted. Like it's just automatically age restricting everything I post. It honestly feels so sad. The most annoying part about that automatic age restriction isn't even that it can't be monetized. Like sure, that's annoying that we're not getting paid for making content like most other YouTubers out there. But when a video gets age restricted, it no longer plays in like the regular algorithm. It has to fight for its life to get seen. It won't show it. It won't send out any notifications. It's a whole thing. And I don't think many people experience it. Even other YouTubers I see complain, but they have videos or even months up to this date that don't get age restricted. I don't have one video that like I'm smoking in that hasn't gotten age restricted. Not even really the monetization aspect of it. It's that they don't let the video perform, which is so annoying because before when I had like no followers, my videos would perform in the algorithm and people would see them and blah, blah, blah. They weren't age restricting it. I do get paid on this channel. It was actually crazy. The other day, my monetization like turned on. In the last like 3 years, I have never made a check from Google AdSense. It's always just sponsors or companies. A few months ago, when I got like accepted into AdSense and they started running ads on this channel, I made my first couple $100s from YouTube, which was insane because I was just like, holy shit, that's amazing. I'm so grateful to have a channel that pays me. But also imagine how much money I would have made from all those views over the past 3 years that I haven't been able to advertise. But then it's like, how does YouTube not let you advertise? The main person they advertise towards are kids, I guess, but kids don't have debit cards and credit cards to buy all this stuff. Like they're gonna have to talk to their parents about it. And recently, I got a bone to pick. I've seen this like CBD or Delta 8 brand, which I'm all for, but like, let's play fair here. They're paying to have like ad space for their ads to show on YouTube, and it literally shows like a whole nug, like whether it's hemp or weed or whatever. How can something like that be an ad, yet you don't let the weed community run AdSense? What? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Make it make sense. Mascara, I always use the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Waterproof Mascara. It is so good. I've tried all the high-end ones. I don't like any of them as much. There is one from Lancome. I don't remember the name of it, but it's also like giving very similar energy, but it's Lancome. It's like $30, much more expensive. So a little bit of Aquaphor on my lip. Last but not least, the brow freeze. The only dangerous part about waiting till the end to do this is definitely forgetting it. It's just like mascara. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm done. And I'm like, no, you're fucking not. And we'll do one last question. This one kind of like trails off what I was just talking about a few minutes ago, so I feel like it's perfect. It says, what is some features you would enjoy in your dream house? And I feel like I've really already thought out so much of my dream house. I'm such a manifester by chance. Like I didn't even know what like manifesting was, but I've always been somebody that like is a dreamer. Like I really do plan out huge things I want in my future while I'm so far away from them. I feel full-heartedly that I will attain them at some point. So you already know I would absolutely love to have some sort of like custom icy machine type thing. But I also want just like an interesting laid out house, very like serene private space. An absolute must, which isn't like necessarily a dream home thing, it's more of an any home thing. I have to have good light, like natural sunlight needs to come in the house. If it doesn't, I'm such a like seasonally depressed being anyways that I don't feel like I need a house that gets no natural sunlight. That's absolutely horrible. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I would love to have some sort of room for like appliances like KitchenAid, mixers, toasters, or like really large things that take up most of the counter space. Some sort of like patio, like cozy little nook right off of the master bedroom. I feel like that would be super amazing. And I would love to have some sort of either outdoor hot tub that could be used all year round when it's cold. Being in a hot tub is so nice. Or like an indoor swimming pool that could also be used all year round. I don't know. I think that'd be so sick. I only know one person that's ever had an indoor swimming pool, but I don't want like a full-size indoor swimming pool, just like a little like lounge pool built into the house. I think it'd be super cool to have a house that like nobody's ever built before. But I am super lucky in the sense of that my dad is a contractor. Like he owned his own business for 25-30 years. We aren't like the closest father and daughter ever, but we've always both assumed that he'd probably build my house. So I get to design a dope ass house and have him build it. So that'll be fun. But I hope y'all enjoyed this little chit chat. Get ready with me.
I got one lawyer, got one in that day, the only two, man. How many times have I told you the truth, man? How many nights I've been woke, swerving them potholes, not trying to fuck up the wheels or fuck up the deals. I'm posted in stock, home, it's me, the owls, and the twins, it's only the real.